All right. Time for some good old market observe analysis today. And let's bring up both windows. Is it this one? Oh yeah, here we go. All right. Man, that AC is loud as hell. It's all good though. Let's not let it distract us. Okay, so here we have a nice naked chart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that one off for now. I'm going to just focus on this. And pricing behavior is the focus, and timing of behavior is the focus. So we're still doing the play-by-play. Pretty much around the 2 minute and a half mark, we're going to really start focusing on how we see these numbers move here as it relates to the positioning of these candles here. What you just saw me do is remove the strikes that Nadex puts on here on this platform, because this is where we're trading relative to. All right. But without all that, we're looking at the naked market right here. Okay. So the goal here is to understand how the market is behaving, and if the market is behaving in favor of an income product or a trade, and if it's not behaving in favor of a trade, then we'll understand. We need to be able to break down why it's not in alignment with an opportunity. One thing that I've learned over the past, I'd say mainly year, is that it's more important to understand how not to trade than to want to trade. So with that in mind, let's start off with this first observation here. I actually kind of like what it's doing. We see that all of these candles are within one zone. We're going to turn on our camera here, our recorder, and we're going to observe this binary right here. We see that the lowest point of all of these is we have 7255, 56, 56, 54, and 54. We're currently at 56, and then the pricing behavior of this right here is staying within that mid-8 range. So I like what I see. It's just jumped up to 90s. Now it's back in the mid-80s. In order for me to enter this trade, I would need to see this go to 57. And what we saw, or what we're seeing right now, is that the pricing, it just jumped down to the low 7s. Now it's jumping down even further to the low 3s and 5s. So it's telling us exactly what's going to happen here, which is what we see happening in this candle. What I'm also interested in is to see how quickly or how closely these prices move with the indicative, because sometimes you'll see the price do something and then the indicative will do something. Sometimes, and ideally, you'll see the price do something with the indicative doing something. That's the ideal. But of course, we're just starting the observation. And in this case, we saw a sudden burst in movement. So we're going to label what we see. And it held where it moved to. So what I would call this is a burst, move, hold. So I'm going to put that there. Burst, move, hold. Okay. Put that right there. And then just to keep track of our observation, since I'm starting earlier than normal, I'm going to put a little line right here. make that the starting point, and then I'll set up the line for the next. So between these two lines is a full binary, and I'm interested to see what the market does and how the market behaves between these two lines. As you can see right now, I don't need this. As you can see right now, the market is it's moved from this zone here to this zone here. So what I'm interested in is to see if it does something kind of like what I'm about to show you right here. So let's take a look at this. This is an income product that I captured. I don't remember when I captured it. Who cares? Oh, well, here you go. Back in February. So I don't have the strikes up. I just have the relevant strike. And we can see that the market for between this time, which is the start of the binary, and this time, for the entire time, you can see all of the candles moving in a very tight space. And within that tight space, not touching this line, and we're also looking at how this price is moving. So we see 25, mid 25s, 24. You see how it's very 31, 24. It's moving within a pretty tight range. 23, the indicative is moving down. 24, 20, okay. 22. So we see the indicative moving, and now we see the price still kind of sticking to where it's at. It's giving us time to see the liquidity of this trade move out. And that's what's happening now. You see it moving down to the teens now. And that's when I go ahead and take the position. So this is more in line with what we want to see. And it doesn't have to look exactly like this, but I like to show an example of an income building product or an income product. So that way, each time you come to one of these or rewatch one of these, you have a good example to work from for your vision development. So let's go back to the actual market. And we can actually record this one here. All right, so we're looking at the behavior of this price, and this price is under the $2 that we'd like to see. Okay, it's at 20 cents. So this is far below what we would consider as a product, because it's outside of our price range. It's below that threshold. Typically, I like to see like the between 15 and 25 when the market is in position. And what do I mean when I say in position? So when you're looking at these different zones, you have a zone. This is a full zone between these two strikes. And then in between two strikes, you're always going to have a selling position and a buying position. And so if you look right in the middle of the two strikes, this is the end of each of the positions. So right here, there's a buying position here. And then the market was in a selling position. When the market is in either of those positions, you want to see the corresponding price to line up with the market's position. So what we saw was that the market was in a selling position. And the market's price was below the threshold when we started to consider it for a potential opportunity. What we want to see is between somewhere around 15, you know what, I'll say it doesn't have to be this exact number, but this is what gets my attention. So I'm thinking like between 15 and or 1.5 and 2.5 is what I like to see the market floating around when it's in a sell position. So we're still in a sell position, so we're going to stay focused on that. As far as what the market did, excuse me, the market at the end of the binary, it did move against the strike, but there was no burst involved. So what it did is it moved from point A to point B, and it held at point B. So we're going to edit this, and we're just going to call this a move and hold. Okay. Now, in between these binaries, I may bring up this window here. This is just another platform trading the same exact instrument. And so you'll see me kind of toggle back and forth every once in a while. This one's more of a toy to me, to observe other ways to trade, like trading based off of movement. And this one is based, I know you probably can't see it, so let me bring it up to give you a closer picture. This one I'm looking at every 30 seconds if there's an opportunity for me to take advantage of based on its movement. So like right now, for example, we have a line right there where the market has come down and had some pushback, come down again, had some pushback, come down again, had some pushback, and then had some breakthrough. So this is what I would call a touch point, where the market comes to touch it and there's a noticeable reaction. And so normally you would say, oh man, you know, I can see these candles getting bigger here. I think it's going to continue going up. But if you're not aware of the touch points, some people might call them support, resistance, demand zone, supply zone, doesn't matter what you call it, they're all the same thing. These are where orders are hanging out to push the market in a direction or pull the market in a direction. And so what I like to see on this platform is momentum between touch points, where it's just kind of freely moving to the next touch point. And that's what gets my attention over there. So let's go back over here, and we've moved into another position. Let's start it over. Okay. Moved into another position. Let's go ahead and copy that. All right, so we're looking at the price again. All right, so we're in our mid 60s. Now we're in our mid 70s, back to mid 60s. We're at 3 above. We've never tested this position. We haven't established ourselves in this position, but I do like the way that it's moving in the position currently. It's staying in those 70s for now, but the market has moved toward the strike instead of away from the strike, which is a red flag. And then you see it suddenly moving up to the 9s. So from 70s to 9s, it didn't even incrementally move past the 8s. So that's some suddenness inside of the pricing, which means that can also be, that suddenness can also be expressed in the candlesticks and the behavior. Now, do we see that happening now? We still need to give it 15 more seconds to really determine if it's another move and hold, which is a good thing, which would be a good thing, or if we have any bursty behavior where it's suddenly going from where it's at now to some other place quickly. But in this case, we have some nice move and hold. So that's a good sign. I'd like to see that continue. Yeah, consistent move hold so far, but it has not established. It did move into the position. This binary that we're looking at right now is the opportunity for the market to show that it's been established in this position. Let's take a look over here. Same market, different platform. All right, so we see that that touch point is still relevant. Market came up, pushed back, came up, pulled back. It's still kind of hanging out. So we haven't seen any certainty or any conviction in its continuous movement. So if it settles where it's at, this is ideal. And if it shows us momentum or convicted movement with conviction, then this is where we'll be at. So we'll keep an eye on both. I'm going to erase these strikes for now because those can be distracting. And I'm actually going to look at the lowest point from when this market moved up into this position. And the lowest point, it moved up from here to here, right? And so now this right here shows me the lowest point where the market's been since it's moved into this current position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a point-to-point line. And what I want to see is the market come down to this touch point and respect it without breaking through it, just totally violating it. So 5.3, 5.3. You see how it just broke through it? All right. So now we know that this touch point obviously belongs to the sellers. Yeah, big influence from the sellers. No momentum, though. It was just a big burst. No momentum, just a big burst. Now we see some, let's see if we can see some momentum develop. So I'm going to erase this because it's no longer relevant. And in terms of any type of opportunity, the pricing here is already past where we would even consider looking at it in terms of a potential opportunity. So there's really nothing for us to do, just to kind of outside of just to see how the market ends. So that's what I'm curious about. Is how's this binary gonna end? Let's take a look at the last minute. Okay, sudden movement back up to the 2s, back down to the 1s. So big swings in movement. Looking at this here. See if this one at the end of 30 seconds, if it shows me, okay, it looks like it was showing me some intent to continue downward. Some hesitancy there, though. I'm gonna wait on it. Yeah. Okay. This showed me a little bit of wobble. You definitely don't want to land anywhere with a wobble. So wherever it's going, I don't think it's going to settle where it wobbled at, but it don't matter what I think. It's all about what the market tells me. Okay, let's go ahead and move this one over here. We'll put a touch point here. Yeah, lots of movement. Oh, whoops. That was the delayed credit on the entry. So that one's probably going to hit me on that. It's supposed to be entered right there. So I'm a little salty on that one. Unless it still works in my favor, but that put me in a little late. Yep. Unfortunately. We're back here. Looking at the price. 2.7. The indicative 19, 16, 18. I like the way that this is kind of floating around. The only thing I don't like is that it hasn't established itself in this zone yet. I do like the fact that it's moving down. I just don't like the fact that it hasn't established itself here, and its recent behavior was unstable. But I like the way that it moved away from the strike. And I like the way that the pricing moved. So I'd like to see how this one ends, and that would recover some of my confidence in the behavior. So this moved well. This moved well. It just wasn't established in its position, and I didn't like how the recent binary moved, but I definitely like how this one moved. So that's a good sign. I want to see another round of that. Nice move and hold on that. Yeah, see, this is what I was a little nervous about. You see how the number here showing 131 or excuse me, 231. So it's not established in this zone. This right here has entered into this zone here. So this has touched this buyer position. In order for it to be considered established, it needs to stay in one position, seller or buyer position. But this is straddling positions. This current binary, because of this candle, it is straddling the buy position here and the sell position here. And so that means that the range of potential, the range of position, I should say, it's automatically in two different places. So let's just take a look at that. This is the range of position currently. Let's take away those strikes. Let's see how the market behaves within that range of position. See if it at least respects its range of position. Nope. So now this is irrelevant. So the market has some figuring itself out to do. And it's moving quite a bit, actually. So let's see that the range of the position has widened. Yeah, this one over here, this one that I'm playing with on close option. That's why I like this one better. I have one go-to, one trick, and it's very consistent. But yeah, so this one we have all of that space that we can move, and I mean it's widened since we started looking at it, so it's probably going to get even wider. But in terms of a trade, I can't really do anything on the seller side because this price is out of the range. Not only is the price out of the range, but the position is in 3 different positions. It's at the top of the buyer position right here. This right from here on down. Let me just draw it. From here on down. That's the top. So this and this is inside of a buyer position. And then we got the seller's position right there. And then we have it going into a buyer's position right there. So this binary is in 3 different positions as it relates to this strike on Nadex. So that's what keeps us out of these types of trades. Is I need the market to at least give me, at least minimum, it has to be in one zone. Like that's the bare minimum. Ideal, it's in one zone and it's been established inside of one position. Buyer position, seller position, not 3. But right now, based on this yellow rectangle here, the market is in 3. The market's position is 3 different positions. It's still moved and held. That's a good thing. So that's good. We see some consistent move and hold. That's definitely a good thing. There's some burst in there, a little bit of wobble, and the burst and wobble is just enough to tell you that the market has instability. That's all that means. If the market's not moving and holding in incremental steps, then it has instability inside of its behavior. So wobble, bursts of speed, those are indicators of instability. But we're in the new binary now. So right now, let's start a new square, or let's start a new rectangle. Huh? For the sake of this exercise, I'm gonna make a rectangle inside of the seller's position, even though it doesn't make any sense for me to do that right now. This is the seller's position. Let's change the colors. Let's make it red. And then let's duplicate it. And this is the buyer's position. And let's edit this and make it green. Okay. Actually, we gotta make that a little bit higher. There we go. All right, it's out of the sell position. It's about to. It's going against the buyer position. It is officially out of the buyer position, so we have to see it in another seller's position. It's touched the seller's position already. Look at it. If we look at its lowest point at 210. 210 is a sell position. So within this binary, the market has touched 1, 2, 3 positions. So we don't see any establishment of position. But for the sake of this exercise, we'll still take a look at the price behavior to see how the positioning relates to the pricing. The positioning here, how that relates to the pricing. Okay. I'm not going to record this because even if it lined up perfectly, there's nothing for me to do. But I guess you can suspect that. Okay, so here we go. Let's just look at it. So burst in movement, and we see the pricing went out of reach before the position could catch up. Now we're way past the buy position. We're out of the buy position. Now we're back in the sell position here. But the market's going against the sell position, so we can't do anything there. So this is just totally out of it in terms of a product or trade. But we'll take a look and see how the market behaves now that it's back approaching the sell's position. It's out of our range as it relates to any type of opportunity. But how does it behave? So we're at 3, 5, 7, 9. So it's going up against the sell position. 8, 1, 8, 7, 6. Okay, 9. It's threatening the seller's position. Doesn't mean that it's gonna break the sell position, but it's threatening it. It's moved. 1, 5, that's a high one. 8. Will it break the sell position? Just imagine having $1,000 on that trade, huh? Would you want that? Now, did it move and hold? Yes, that's a good thing. But would you want that to happen if you put $10,000 on your trade? Right now, I have $1,500 in this account. I started off with $80. Would I want to put, and I put the whole thing on the line each time because I'm building revenue, and by executing the same process. Okay, so would I feel comfortable if I were to see something like that? Let's go back to our original reference video here. I can see some people joined. So let me go back and show you what we want to see. Let's just get a reminder of what we want to see. Let's just use this one again. This is something like what we would want to see. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, not you. There we go. All right, we want to take a look at how this number behaves and how this number behaves. Okay. All right, 26, 30. And by the way, so you'll notice that the number, just move the decimal over one place to the left and it's all the same. But at this time the prices were 20s and 30s and not 1s and 2s. So it's no difference though. All right, so what we're looking at here is incrementality. That's what I like to call it. And that's when the price is moving within a fairly tight range. So we got 23.75, 23.50, 24, 23. We're also looking at how this is moving. It's moved from 3 to 1 to 2 to 1. So it has a little bit of back and forth, but the price is staying within that range. So I'm still interested in it. Now we're moving down to 19, 17. I'm feeling that. I like that. And still giving me time to consider. And so that's what you want. Now this jump right there, I'm pretty sure that at the time I took this trade, it had me a little bit concerned when it suddenly jumped from 16 to 30, because that usually means that the market is going to respond. But in this case, the positioning of the market was sustained, and that's what we want to see. So just to give you a perfect example, that's exactly what we want to see. All right, so let's go back. To what we're doing. Market's obviously moved up to a different place. Let's see how many positions it's changed since we left. So let's go buyer position here. Yeah, buyer position, seller position, buyer position. We'll still take a look at the price. And then we have a wick. Nah, brother. Nothing to do in terms of a trade, but let's take a look and see how the price behaves. The market's touched 3 positions in this binary. This pricing is a bit high for the current position. Okay, this pricing is a little bit high for this current position. Let's see if this pricing will bring up the position or if it's just out of sync. Okay, we're seeing it's low 80s. I kind of like the incrementality of the pricing, to be honest. All right, we just lost the pricing. I still like the incrementality of the pricing. Oh, nope. Now we see a sudden drop. Sudden drop. Very high. Ooh, we went from 5.1 to 5.7. This was a huge burst. Huge burst. And a burst doesn't mean that it's going to continue in that direction. Burst means that it bursts in either direction. So we'll go ahead and mark that. Burst. Burst, move, hold. Actually, I'm just going to, yeah, just burst, move, hold there. I'm over here getting my close option. It's rough over there. Rough on those streets. All right. We saw a huge burst. You know what I mean? I'm not sure about that. I'm not a fan of that type of behavior at all. It's in one zone. That's the good thing. Will it stay there? Let's open up our sells position. Go to the bottom of the sells position right there. Buys position. All right. So now it's in the buyer's position. Now we're looking right here. But it's been going against the buyer's position. Let's see if we have any influence. Right here, we had a big buyer burst. Still one zone, just two positions. Lots of movement. I'd be more interested in this one here. Take a look at how this one behaves. Let's focus in on this guy. Okay, 83. Okay. Up in the 90s. Price is a little cheap for where it's at. Like it should be priced out already, which it is, so that makes sense. Can't really do anything with it because the market is at the top of its buy position, and then the pricing is out of range. Yeah. Okay, we got another move hold here. But you see all that's happening in between. So, oh, no. That's wobble. Yep, that's wobble. Came back at the end. The good news is that it's maintained its being in one zone, so that's good news. Let's put you on this side. Oh, never mind. Now it's in a new zone. It touched it. Got a couple more binaries. This is where we're at. All right, let's see how it moves. We're in the right position at 15, so that looks good. Suddenly, okay, 15, 16, 14, 17. That looks pretty good. 20, 24, we're moving up. Looking at the position, 17, 11, 9. A little back and forth. And now it's out of our range where we could consider it for a trade. So, but it was okay leading up to a point. Let's see how it ends. Started at 43. Now it's at 45. Big jump. Will it respect where it's at, or will it burst through? Oh, that pricing right there, that's a burst. Will it stay? Yeah, that's similar to what happened right here. We see another burst. Got a couple more binaries and we'll call it a night, but another burst, move, hold, not what you want to see in terms of, like I said, a trade. So we'll keep observing. Got maybe one or two more in me. Oh. Okay. So the market's primarily in the seller's position, but it's also touched this buyer's position here. And with that being the case, in terms of a product, there is no product. But in terms of a trade, I do like the way that this price has been moving, but we still have a lot of time before we even start to open that window of consideration. So see, once it gets to about a minute and a half, we'll start really analyzing it to see if it stays committed to that sell position that it's currently in. So let's take a look. Okay, this is telling me that it's going to at least touch that strike, which is exactly what it just did. But now we're moving back down, 27, 38, 35, 42, it's 25. You see how it's all over the place? 18, 14. I don't like that. That's not stable to me. That's erratic. So wouldn't be able to do anything with this either. But we'll keep on looking. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm about ready to go. After this one, I'm about done. Because it's actually getting more erratic. Bursts, wobbles. Well, it hasn't had any reversals yet. Starting off at 43. Pricing comes back in 44. You see? So the primary behavior of the night that's really kept us out is that bursty behavior. Sometimes it was exhibited in the indicative, and other times it was exhibited in the erraticness of the pricing, where it would burst from the teens to the mid 30s or something or the 40s to So we like to see incremental steps where it doesn't skip numbers. And even here, if you'd have taken this trade, you'd be out of some money right now. Look at that. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, so that is wobble. That's burst wobble. We'll call it burst. Burst move hold. Or no, it's burst. Yeah, so it's regression in the behavior, not progression towards what we're looking for. It's a regression from what we're looking for. So this last binary will be it. All right. It's in the sells position. Looks like it's about to go into a buyer's position, so we'll just go ahead and put that right there. And you know what, just for the fun of it, since it's been touching 3 positions, see how it does its thing between these different positions. And look, look at that. So we've touched the sell, we've touched the buy position here. The top of the buy position. We've been hanging out in the sell position here relative to this strike. That's what I mean, sell position, right? That's this main position, but it's also showing some interest in the buy position here. So we still got plenty of time before the end of the binary, but this is how you keep out of foolishness. About 30 more seconds and we'll start analyzing this price behavior. All right. So we haven't established ourselves in the seller's position because we went and flirted around in the buy and in two buys, buy positional, actually tri-positional. Now we've moved up into this buy position. So we can't really consider it as a trade at all, but see how the pricing behaves. We've seen bursting. We've seen mainly bursting has been the main culprit behind us staying out. So let's see if the same thing happens in this case. I like where the price is relative to the position. I do like that. But the market is going against the buy. The price is sticking where it's at. That's good, but we need to see it confirm the buy. It's not been doing that. It's been going against where it says it's at. So, oh, look at that. Yeah, now we're all over the place. So instability, bursting. Like, you just don't want to mess with this. You can't really, like, you don't want to bet on where it's going to be. You want to collect the profits that are just right there in front of you. And that means that all these things line up: the positioning, the price behavior, the market being established in not three different places. It touched here, it flirted here, it committed there. It never established anywhere. Let's kind of look back and then we'll wrap up. I'm gonna start using these color things more often. But yeah, going back in the beginning, so we saw a big burst. So that should have been, okay, all right, and burst, okay, cool. And then it moved and held. That's good behavior. Right, just kind of telling the story. We saw the market establish itself in this position, but there was no pricing, so we couldn't do anything with that. We got here, and the market did move and hold in this position, but what I wanted to see was it follow up with being established in the position, okay? And it doesn't have to be the same position necessarily. It's just that I like to see it kind of prove itself before I jump into something. So since it hadn't proven that it was in position, and this one didn't prove that it was in alignment, I couldn't really do anything there either. This one was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different positions. So this market was transitioning somewhere, and whenever it transitions, the behavior can be affected, indicated by that wobble, which is unstable. Market moved and held as well here. I don't remember what happened with the pricing, but it was in two different positions. this one. So you kind of see the story unfolding here on why I don't, or I did not engage with the market. Yeah, we saw some moving and holding, but lots of transitioning, big bursts, and overall unstable pricing behavior. We wanted to hang out in this area, but never really fully committed to it. So that's kind of it. That's kind of it. I could watch for more, but I'm not going to. So how about that? Okay, fine. You know what? Fine. I'll watch this. Let's see. Let's see if this one is even worth looking at. Let's see if this one is even worth looking at. It's already it's touched 2 positions. Still sell. But check this out. Check this out. Hold on. Let's erase all that, right? Let's go from here. This is the market's position right here. So if we never even looked at the strikes, this is where we're at. So anyway, I think I'm done. Until next time.